Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Mr. Bill Courtney.
It won't get any better than that. Thank you very much. See you later. Wow, standing ovation. I thought 4 or 5 people outside of Memphis had seen that thing. Thank you very much. Wow, I cannot tell you how happy I am to be here. Everybody knows what St. Jude is, and the honor of being asked to address you guys is one that I was so happy to take. I tell you, this woman I'm married to that's gorgeous, and I way outkicked my coverage with her. Anyway, so this whole undefeated thing and writing a book and shooting a pilot for a TV show and speaking all over the country and the Academy Award and everything, she's remained wholly unimpressed. She married a football coach and a guy that works in the lumber business, just a guy, and really unimpressed. And through the whole thing, she's always keep it real. And so I have tried very hard to keep it real as I'm going around, and I'm on the red carpet with the Academy Awards, and I'm talking to George Clooney, and I back up and I step on Ryan Seacrest's foot like this, and I'm like, oh, Lord, and I'm gonna turn around and say, Mr. Seacrest, I'm so sorry. And before I get anything out of my mouth, he goes, Coach. And I'm like, really? Ryan Seacrest on the red carpet, coach? And so I look over at my wife thinking, that'll impress her. And I look over, and she's like this. Mouth looks like the end of a hot dog. Not impressed. Ryan Seacrest, she likes big guys. She's just not impressed. Whole time, baby, you got to keep it real. Now, you're just from Memphis. You're a football coach on a lumber company. Keep it real. Great advice. And so I'm speaking to the Paralympics, the Warrior Games Olympic people in Colorado Springs right before they went off to England for the Olympics here recently. And so I'm keeping it real, and I'm going down into the venue, about 3,000 people, big deal. I'm keeping it real, and I'm going down the escalator, and I'm deaf as a stone in my right ear, but I hear pretty good out of my left. And I'm going down this elevator, keeping it real, and I look down on the left, and there's these 2 girls now at the bottom of the elevator on the left. And, they've got they're hot is what they're, two really hot girls at the bottom of the elevator down here. And so I'm halfway down, and I look over, and I go, oh, don't look over here because I'm scared of my wife. And so, and the first one says, there he is. And I'm like, yeah. And the other one said, yeah, I know him too, but I thought Chris Farley had died. And immediately I'm like, Lisa told me to keep it real. And the minute you start thinking something, then you don't, yeah. So, gang, it's kind of in that vein that I want to address you for the next 25 minutes today. I want to keep it real. That's who I am, that's where I come from, and for the vast majority of the collection of people here, I pretty much figure that's how y'all approach life too. So, I want to keep it real. We have an abject loss of leadership today. We have an abject loss of leadership in our government, we have it in our politics, we have it in our families, we have it in our society, and we have it in our business. And the reason you are here is to do something about that. And that's easy to say. But what am I supposed to do? Well, I'm going to tell you what you got to do. We're going to talk about 3 things. And I hope that at the end of it, you can see how it applies to you. We got to get out of our comfort zones. We got to serve. And we got to understand what our legacy is and the value of it. We got to get out of our comfort zones. We got to serve. And we got to think about our legacy and the value of it. A lot of that's kind of cliche. Let's talk about getting out of the comfort zone. At my house, I've got 4 kids, 18, 17, 16, and 15. We got on city water and it cleared up. So look, I told you my wife is strong, right? And so when you look like this and you light into a slab, you don't let off the hook. Anyway, so there's this leather chair that sits in front of my TV. And it's my chair. And my 18, my 17, my 16, my 15-year-old, my wife, everybody knows that's my chair. They know it's my chair because I tell them it's my chair. They know it's my chair because that's where I watch TV. They know it's my chair at the end of 18 hours when I'm tired. That's where I'm going. They know it's my chair because the indention in the sofa cushion perfectly matches this overly large ass of mine. That is my chair. That's my chair. That's my comfort zone. When I've had it with 120 employees at work, when I've had it with everything that's going on in the world, when I need some time to just be me and think and get away from all of it, that's where I go. And there's nothing wrong with it. Everybody, every one of us needs it. Your comfort zone may be a restaurant. It may be a chair. It may be a sofa. It may be a group of friends. We need a comfort zone. That's our respite. That's where we re-energize. That's where we do things to help our brain kind of catch up and our bodies get right. There's nothing wrong with having a comfort zone, but there's something I've noticed about my time in that chair. Nothing profound has ever happened in my life when I was sitting in it. And when you're in your comfort zone that is necessary and needed and fine, there's nothing wrong with it. But let me tell you something, guys. Nothing great in this world or your life will happen when you're in it. We got to get out of it. In 2003, a guy that worked for me named Jim Tipton decided he wanted to help. And he asked me, said, Bill, do you mind if I take some Fridays off? Some friends of mine are cooking pregame meals for some inner city football teams. I'd like to do that. And I said, sure, I think that's great. He said, you know, there's just a problem. I don't know where to go. And I said, well, man, about a mile from us is the school. I don't even know the name of it. Maybe try over there. We got a business just up the street. So he goes up, walks in the door, says, my name's Jim Tipton. I'm here to help. That was Manasses. 6 years later, we're walking down a red carpet. We went from 17 kids to 70 kids on the team. We went from a previous 10 years record of 4 wins against 95 losses to 18 wins and 2 losses because Jim got out of his comfort zone. But y'all, none of that matters. Let me explain to you better what it means. Jim is a lot like me. He has a nice home in the suburbs. He's got 2 kids. They go to nice schools. They're going to go to college wherever they want to. 2 nice cars, nice furniture, nice clothes. They take a couple vacations every year. Nothing wrong with that. That's his reality. Now, the only thing I ever read in a speech is this, because I don't ever want to screw this part up. This is the demographics of the people that live in Manasses. Manasses High School is surrounded by 3 neighborhoods, Smoky City, Greenlaw, and New Chicago. These are the demographics from those places. The median annual household income is $7,800. 83.4% of the people that are there under the age of 18 live below the poverty level. 87.3% of the homes are valued at less than $40,000. More than 50% of the adults do not have a vehicle. Only 33% of adults are high school graduates or GED equivalents. Only 0.3% of the people have a bachelor's degree. Unemployment rate is 41%. Only 12% of the households consist of a married couple. And an 18-year-old male is 3 times more likely to be in prison when he's 20 years old than he is to be in college. That is 4 minutes from where you sit in this beautiful ballroom. It's not Somalia. It's not some third world South American country. It's right here. Right here. 7 years after Jim Tipton showed up over there and brought me along with him, we had 36 seniors graduate off our last 2 football teams. And in a demographic where you were 3 times more likely to be in jail to be in college, we sent 35 of those 36 seniors to college. Because Jim... But it happened because Jim Tipton got out of his comfort zone. Because he got out of that chair. Because he recognized nothing profound is going to happen in his life or anybody else's life when he's there. That there's nothing wrong with having a comfort zone. And there's nothing wrong with having success. And there's nothing wrong with being exceptional. An American exceptionalism ideal is still a great idea. It may be out of vogue in some parts of the world, but damn that. It is great to be exceptional. But it's what you do with that exceptionalism that matters. And you can't do anything about leading until you're ready to get out of your comfort zone. In Memphis, it's the Smith Street Viaduct, or Warford, or Hollywood. Wherever you're from, this area exists, where you go over or go by, and you're like, please, Lord, don't have a flat tire here. And then when you get past it, or you go past it, you kind of look over and say, man, somebody ought to do something about that. And then as you travel by, you look back in your rearview mirror and think maybe a little bit about it, and then you're on your way. My question is this: who is somebody that ought to do something about that? Who is that? The government? I think they've proven woefully inadequate. Who is it? Who is it that's got to do something about that? I suggest to you, instead of looking in the rearview mirror, cock that thing about 30 degrees and look at yourself. You've got to get out of your comfort zone. Our society, our families, everything around us is suffering from an unbelievably abject loss of leadership, and it starts with normal people, a lumber guy, a football guy, a salesman who's willing to just get out of their comfort zone. We weren't elected, we weren't tabbed, nothing. Just get out of your comfort zone. It starts there. And then profound things can happen in your life. That's not enough. Then you got to serve. Because I told you the second thing we're going to talk about is service. The greatest leaders of our time first served in order to lead. Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, Jesus Christ, if you're a Christian. They served in order to lead. They didn't come out and say, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, I'm the boss, I'm the manager, now I'm leading. That's a bunch of crap. They served in order to lead. You have to serve in order to lead. And I suggest to you that's why many of you are here. Because by virtue of being part of this process, you're going to serve. But you got to understand that service, by default, helps you to lead. And when you are serving, you have to do it for the right reasons. And this is most profound for you today. When I was my first year at Manasses, we were 3-3. Now, remember, they'd won 4 games in 10 years. So at 3-3, they were pretty convinced I was like a fat, red-headed version of Newt Rockney at that point. They were pretty happy about 3-3. I wasn't, but and I had, by then it was about 21 kids. Half the kids were doing everything I asked them to do. And I don't mean X's and O's on the football field. I'm talking about pulling their pants up, showing your mind, not your behind, and being respectful to teachers, and doing homework, and quit hanging out on the streets, Now, the other half of the kids, they were yes or no, sir, and X's and O's on the football field because we were winning games. But the minute they left practice or football games or whatever, they were right back in that same destructive behavior. It was driving me insane. So I went to my guy. You know, every coach has got his guy. I went to my guy and I said, Bobo, what's up? How come I can't get those guys to act like these guys? And he said, Coach, just keep doing what you're doing. And he said it dismissively. Now, this is the guy that I'd had all the conversations about to try to understand what I was getting into, who was always honest and candid with me. And when I asked that question, he said, Coach, just keep doing what you're doing. And I said, no, Bo, what's up? I really want to understand. He said, Coach, I don't want to hurt your feelings. I'm a grown man, bruh. You're not going to hurt my feelings. What's the truth? And he said, truth is, Coach, they're trying to figure out if you're a turkey person or not. Well, I had no idea what he meant. And I need to digress momentarily. My first 4 months at Manasses, I learned a ton of vernacular that I had not yet heard in my life. Turkey person, however, was not on the list. And I said, Bo, help me out. What are you talking about? And he said, Coach, every Thanksgiving and Christmas, folks look just like you, driving real nice cars, rolling into our neighborhood, giving away hams and turkeys and gifts. We take them because we ain't got none. But then they leave and we never see them again. Makes you wonder if they're doing that because they really care about us or they're doing that to make themselves feel good. Could have hit me in the face. My question to you is, why are you here? It's a fun weekend. Why are you here? You here to serve? You here to lead? You here to get out of your comfort zone? We're here to have cocktails, listen to country music. You got to ask yourself that, because we got an abject loss of leadership in our society today, and the fix starts with you. It starts with getting out of your comfort zone and serving for the right reasons, because here's the truth. Bobo was right. I coached my kids after I coached Manasses every day. I coached Manasses till 5. I rolled to my neighborhood and I coached my kids from 6 to 7:30, and I'd be in my Manasses stuff. And I had people walk up to me and say, what is this inner city stuff you got going on, Bill? And then they'd write an article in the newspaper about me. They'd be like, man, I see Manasses is winning. They're terrible. How'd you get them winning, Bill? And I hear these cool stories about what's going on. And my response was, yeah, man, it's awesome. I got them doing their homework. I got them winning games. I got them going to practice every day. I got them being responsible with their parents. I got them responsible with the teachers. I got them doing this. I got them doing that. The kids saw right through me. I was a fraud because I was digging the backslaps. I was buying into the notion that I was this great guy doing these unbelievable things for these poor black folks downtown. And it was about me at the end of the day. Yeah, I was winning. Yeah, I was volunteering my time. Yeah, I was buying the uniforms. Yeah, I was doing all that. But at the end of the day, when asked about it, I was a turkey person. I was a fraud. I immediately changed. And I started saying, these kids are doing this, these kids are doing that. And let's be honest, they welcomed me into their world far quicker than I would have ever welcomed them into mine. And I started talking about what they were doing. And I started giving them the credit for all the hard work they'd put in. I mean, the truth is, I got to get in my nice car and go to my house and sleep with my doors unlocked. Half these kids slept in tubs, so drive-by bullets didn't get them in the night. They were the ones changing their paradigm. They were the ones changing their dynamic. They were the ones doing all of the work to get better and break a cycle that we always talk about. How does a cycle get broken? They were the ones doing it, and I couldn't take credit for it anymore. And when I stopped and started giving the credit where it was due and quit being a turkey person, all of a sudden my next team went to 35 kids. And my next team went to 45 kids. And my next team went to 70 kids. And my next team went to 75 kids. And we started winning games and turned the worst program in the city the best program in the city and started putting kids in college. And then they make a movie about it. I'm telling you right now, it's because we genuinely served. You want to raise money for these kids in St. Jude? Serve. Do it for the right reason. Your listeners will hear it in your voice. It's uncomfortable to ask for money. It's uncomfortable for a business to take a couple of days and not generate revenues for the benefit of someone else. It's hard. You got to get out of your comfort zone to do it. And then you gotta serve, and you gotta be real about it. And when you are, the things that matter the most start happening. And I'm telling you this right now, those you serve, the fulfillment that you give them is small compared to the self-gratification that you're gonna get out of your life knowing you're doing this and doing it right. Get out of your comfort zone and serve. Lastly, a leader, which if you're out of your comfort zone and you're serving, you will become, has to think about his legacy. Albert Pike was a 17th century Mason, and he said this: what you do for yourself in this life will die with you. What you do for another will live forever. What you do for yourself in this life will die with you. What you do for another will live forever. So here's the deal. I'm not bragging, just making a point. Started business in 2001, had 10 grand and a couch, and a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a wife. That company now does $45 million a year in sales, sits on 50 acres here in Memphis, got offices in Asia and Europe, and has 120 employees. As a result of that, we've got a nice house, got nice cars. My pretty wife wears pretty clothes, has nice jewelry. My kids go to the best schools. Got a movie, got an Academy Award, just wrote a book, got all kinds of things going on. As a result, my life has been unbelievably enriched. And here's the truth about all of it. This body will be laying in a box one day. And the dirt won't even be splattering the top of that box before everybody starts arguing over who gets what. It's true. I got will, I got attorneys. I can afford that. It's not gonna keep them from arguing. Then, once all the stuff's divvied up, and because I've spent all this time worried about who gets what, and they separate it up, then they're gonna say, by that time they're probably married, and then one of them's wife or husband says, well, yeah, this looks good, but we don't need this stuff. And then that stuff's gonna end up in a garage sale. And then there's gonna be this 45, 50-year-old person that rolls up in an escort station wagon in front of the garage sale and gets out and looks at this stuff that I've spent my whole life worried about, and it's gonna have a $50 tag on it, and then she's gonna wanna try to buy it for 10. And then the person she's wanting to buy it for $10 is probably gonna take 20, because $20 for that piece of crap they don't want in the first place is a hell of a lot better than putting it in a box, carrying it back up to the attic. Is that my freaking legacy? Is that yours? What's your legacy? What you do for yourself is gone, y'all. There's nothing wrong with being exceptional. There's nothing wrong with being successful. There's nothing wrong with generating wealth and having things. As I told you, I believe in exceptionalism. It's what you do with it that matters. And I'm telling you right now, all this crap we're worried about dies when we do. It's gone. It is relegated to somebody you don't know hurrying up through your yard with $1 and $5 and $10 bills so they can get to the next dead person's stuff that's in the yard up the road. And then you're gone. Obituaries are over, funerals over, and everybody's on with their life. But I'll tell you this, there's gonna be a kid that's 4 and says, Daddy, this happened today, how do I deal with it? Or a 10-year-old that says, Daddy, something happened at school and I don't know how to do with it. Or a 15-year-old that says, Daddy, this guy's picking on me and I don't know how to handle it. Or a 21-year-old girl that says, Daddy, I'm thinking about getting married and I've got all these weird things going on inside me, talk with me about it. Or a 30-year-old that says, Dad, I just lost my job, how do I handle it? Or the 45-year-old that says, Dad, my son just died, how do I deal with it? Or a 50-year-old that says, Dad, thanks for all the advice. You've been amazing to me. And the things that those people hear, that dad, what he tells these kids, is very likely something that they heard from their football coach on a football field in Manasses one day. And if that's my legacy, I'll take it. What's yours? What's your legacy? Profits are a necessary measure of any business's success. I get it. But what's your legacy? If you decide to really get out of your comfort zone, and if you decide to really serve and not be a turkey person, do it for the right reasons, and if you decide that part of everyone in this room's legacy can be this, what if you raise an extra $2 million this year? Forget the budgets. I don't even know what they are. Forget the goal. I don't know what it is. I swear to God, I have no clue what it is. But let's just say we do 2 million more. And pick a place. Some 8-year-old from Bangladesh can come here because there's extra money for him. And in the most desperate time, his family is taken care of, and they don't have money, but it doesn't matter because it's St. Jude. And they come here and they get cured. And they go back to Bangladesh. And that person one day tells his children and grandchildren about this amazing place in America and these amazing people that got out of their comfort zone and served them and saved them. And the stories he tells his children in Bangladesh are his legacy, and they're your legacy. And I don't care, you can get all the smart people in D.C. to get together. That's the best foreign policy we have to offer. Because you sought to get out of your comfort zone, serve, and think about your legacy, and as a result, lead. We have an abject loss of leadership in our society today, and you sitting there right now have a chance to do something about it. And the fulfillment that you give another will pale in comparison to the fulfillment you feel in your own life as a result. My name is Bill Courtney, and I thank you for having me today. Thank you.
Questions, if they want to take questions?
Absolutely. I'll be happy to. Please sit down. Please sit down. Thank you.
That was wonderful, and we're so excited that Bill has offered to answer any questions anyone has. So,
Movie
do you have any
or
questions that
anything.
you'd like to ask?
I'll start. Down to about 262 this morning. So, hey, remember, I really am deaf in one ear, so stand and say it loud so I can get you. What's that? So I've been asked that. I've been asked that a lot, actually, and it's humbling, and I get it's tongue-in-cheek, and I appreciate it. The problem is I'd probably be arrested. I hold turkey people in high disdain, and unfortunately, I think D.C. is wrought with them.
I know all of them are successes, all of the boys that you have. Oh, I thought I was naturally loud. I know all of the boys that you've worked with are successes already, but is there one that maybe sticks out? Or
Chavis. Chavis, for those of you who hadn't seen the movie, went to youth penitentiary, a state penitentiary for 15 months when he's 15 years old, had a 9mm and a couple ounces of dope on him. And, well, it was originally there for 7 months, stayed 15 after he just beat the crap out of a guard, and came back to me his junior year, and jail had taught him how to be really good at fighting and being angry. And he was the statistic. There was no way it was happening. And Chavis is now a senior at Lane College in Jackson, Tennessee with a 2.7 GPA, about to graduate. So amazing.
Hey, how do you handle time management in that you have a business, you have Manasses, you have 4 kids. So do you have a system for allowing yourself the opportunity to spend time with all of them?
It's called ample quantities of no-dos. I'm not particularly blessed with a lot of intelligence or good looks, but the Lord only makes me sleep about 4 hours a night. I mean, honestly, my motor doesn't stop. I mean, I'm probably gonna drop dead of coronary 20 years early, but I really, to be honest with you, I don't manage my time well. I just work until I drop. It's not very inspirational, but that's what I do.
I noticed they recorded you saying here, and I'd like to know if you let us bring it back to our people and let them see it, because you're very inspirational.
I thank you. I wish we could, but we can't. This is St. Jude, and this is my city. And Memphis is the city that killed Dr. King. Memphis is the city that has had lots of scars, but there's amazing things in the city too. And one of the gems is this hospital. And I am here because I just believe so much in this place's mission. So this is kind of an atypical form for me. And unfortunately, that disc can't be shown anywhere because some people who represent me would be pretty upset with it. So, but you can call me and have me back, and I'd love to come see. I mean, I'm all over the country talking. So if you're interested in that, I can tell you about that later. I'm not going to sit up here and do a personal commercial, except I just wrote a book, and it's called Against the Grain, and I'm far prouder of it than I am undefeated. And if you would like more of the content you heard today and lots more of it, you can get that soon. Or you can follow me on I Am Coach Bill. I tweet crap all the time.
Can we meet your wife?
She'll be at dinner tonight.
Okay, awesome.
And well, when you're on Ellen DeGeneres and Jimmy Kimmel and Esquire and everything I've done, and I mean, I got out of a cab in London 3 weeks ago and 3 guys from Sweden attacked me. It's ridiculous. Nobody knows who Lisa Courtney is, and nobody understands that without Lisa Courtney, none of it happens. And so if you do meet my wife, just know you're looking at an amazing woman. So.
What do the guys that are on your team think about the movie and the documentary and all the things that are happening?
They haven't seen it. I'm just kidding. Just imagine a big old collection of teenagers who haven't had a whole lot of excitement around their life, and all of a sudden this movie with them and it wins an Academy Award. So we had to have a little chat that was, hey, enjoy it, be happy about it, be proud of it, be humble about it, and understand the reason they made a movie about us has nothing to do with football. It has to do with character and commitment and civility and all of the tenets that carry us. And if this movie makes you drop what got you to this place in the first place, then it's all fraudulent. And the second thing is, as an 18, 17-year-old kid, if the best thing that ever happens for you in your life is a movie and a gold statue, you know, how empty is your life going to be? So what defines us still defines us. What defines us after the movie still defines us. It's not going to change our definition. We're going to enjoy it, and we're going to be able to have fun with it, and we can be proud of it. But functionally, it changes nothing. And that's been the conversation, and by and large, they get it and have moved on. After, if if you watch the movie, you'll find out that at the end of there, I left and I coached at my kids' school, and we got a second in the state my first year, got a state championship my second year, then I quit because my youngest son was in another school, and then I coached him the last 2 years, and he played quarterback, and we went undefeated this year, which is pretty cool. So yes, I'm still coaching, but you got to watch the movie to understand why I quit.
Coach, I'm
For those
curious.
of you who haven't seen it.
Sorry. Coach, here I am.
Yes, sorry.
I'm kind of curious.
Apparently I'm
Did you
deaf and
ever coach against Hugh Freeze?
What's that?
Did you ever coach against Hugh Freeze?
Oh, no, I didn't want to embarrass him. No. Different time. He was, this is a former player of Hugh Freeze's right here. Played on his first basketball team at Briarcrest High School. Hugh Freeze, his time was a step in front. He's actually recruited kids of mine. When he went to Ole Miss, a couple of my kids played there. And so I know him, and we're from some town, but never coached against him. Thankfully, he's a better coach than I am.
Coach over here.
I think I saw, I'm sorry, thank you.
Check one. Coach, hello, hello.
Hey, Coach, question. How difficult, you said that you had to get through to the kids. How much of a challenge was it to get through the parents? Because that's where a lot of where the kids learn came from home.
Well, I will tell you, in 6 years at Manasses, I met 6 fathers. So it was getting through to the grandmothers and moms. And at first, let's be candid. I mean, here's this white guy coaching inner-city school, all black players rolling up. And I mean, you should have seen the looks the first year, like, what is that all about? And that was when we played. And then when the moms and grandmothers, I mean, the first year there was a little bit of suspicion, you know, exactly what's the motivation here. But after you're not a turkey person anymore, and after you work hard and stay consistent and fight and love and work, it actually was an unbelievable dynamic that I don't think will ever be repeated in my life. I mean, the calls were, Coach, I need you to get him to do this. Coach, he ain't doing this right. What can you do about it? It honestly, and I meant it, they welcomed me into their neighborhood and their homes and their lives much more quickly than most of us in here would have welcomed them from their dynamic into ours. And so the truth is, it was amazing. It was awesome. And I was humbled by their willingness to just trust me with their children. So.
Coach, hi. I just wanted to thank you. You were very inspirational, and ask you, will you be available for photo ops later? It might impress your wife.
I'll hang around a little while, and then you can get me at dinner too. I'll be at dinner tonight, but yeah, I'll hang around a little bit. Sure, there's something, y'all gonna do something here in a minute, so you're not immediately breaking, but I'll hang around out here for just a little bit. I mean, everybody wants their picture with a fat guy, right? So. There was somebody over, yes, sir.
Did you ever want to quit?
Did I ever what?
Want to quit?
No. And that's the first time I've ever been asked that question. I've done 100 of these, and I've never been asked that question. Did you see the movie? No. You need to watch the movie and you'll understand why. There's personal things in my life that drove me as well. So watch the movie and you'll get that. Those of you who've seen the movie understand what I'm talking about. Anything else? Yes, sir. What was my toughest day coaching? The day that I walked in and told my players that I was not coming back for a 7th season. No doubt. I mean, you know, I started getting with these guys when they were in 7th and 8th grade. And by and large, for many of them, I was, not just me, the coaching staff and I were their role models and their go-to guys for guy stuff. And I had to look guys in the eyes that I truly, all coaches say, man, I love you guys. I mean, I love these guys. And to look at them in the face and say, I'm not going to be here anymore. and know that I was breaking hearts, and it was breaking my own heart. It was the toughest day. It was the second toughest day of my life. So, yes, sir.
Did your inspiration change any of your closest friends to get out of their comfort zone? Did you, doing work with the school, for those people that actually say, what are you doing, Coach? What are you doing over there? Did that cause them to want to do something?
Yes. My last year, our coaching staff had 11 coaches on it, and all but one were volunteers. There's a church here in Memphis that I wanted to start having overnight camps in preseason to do install and to get the kids together. 127 volunteers. My third year, 140 guys on Harleys showed up with rakes to redo the baseball field so they could have a baseball team. They were like, they were from a church, I don't know, like Bikers for Jesus or something, I'm not sure. I don't know what the hell they were doing, but they got out there and they raked the field. I would tell you in the course of 6 or 7 years, we probably had 500 or 600 volunteers and it wasn't just a 1 hour thing that were involved. Every pregame meal was cooked by an entire group of people outside. We had men roll up with grills from the county and cook steaks and baked potatoes for pregame meals. We had, we raised $220,000 over the course of 6 years for buses and new equipment and uniforms. Yeah, I'm the front guy because I happen to be on the movie, but I only represent hundreds of other people who got way out of their comfort zone and gave of their time for these kids, which is much like what you are for another group of kids. Part of it, I hope. Yes, sir. Oh, did I mess up? Go here, then there.
Hey, Coach, how's the team doing since your departure?
They're okay. Hadn't had as much success, but they're also not garbage. They're doing okay. They're not terrible. They're really not. They still hadn't won a playoff game. Just you're next after this gentleman.
You pretty much answered it. I was going to ask, was there any carryover after you left? Are any of the coaches still there?
Oh, yeah.
Is the program still strong? Are the people continuing to grow?
I didn't just leave the program bare. I mean, I knew I was leaving a year before I was leaving, and had a succession plan in place, and left 6 coaches in place, and left money and fundraising in place. Now, after that, a new administration came in, and they changed some things. But in terms of the commitment to the program, it was certainly still there. Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
What's next?
For me? There's a lot of opportunities for what's next. And, okay, y'all are getting tired of sitting here and everything else. I'll tell you this real quick. I have a lumber business that does about $40 million a year in sales. I don't need any of this. I've been very blessed, and I love my business, and I do it every day, all day, every day. I still manage it. I still operate it. Undefeated unwittingly allowed me this platform where I get to go around the country and talk about things that I think need to be said. And I can do it without prejudice, and I can do it without fear because, one, I don't need it, and there's a movie that shows you where I come from. So what's next for me is whatever fits into that space. If I use this opportunity for anything that's just for profit, for the point of making money, then everything you see in the movie is a bunch of crap. If I use it to try to exact some measure of change, not in kids' lives, but in the way people think and view one another, and we drop preconceived notions, we get out of our comfort zone, and we start to act with a little bit of civility toward one another, these idiots that we elected up here who can't even get along with one another start, that's the platform. And that's so what's next? The book I wrote will tell you a lot about what's next. The TV show will tell you some about what's next. And I honestly don't know. It's just wherever it kind of takes me, as long as it fits into that space. Yes, sir. Thank you. How the question for anybody who didn't hear it, which is a great question, how do we get over the fear of that place that we look in the rearview mirror of getting out of our comfort zone? And, I got to be careful with this answer. Some this will help, some it won't, okay? But I'm just going to tell you how I look at it. I'm going to have to answer one day for what I do on this earth, and I don't mind answering for the fear of getting in my comfort zone, but I sure as hell don't want to have to answer for my lack of a legacy. You better look yourselves in the mirror.
Oh, I don't need that.
Okay. No, ma'am, you don't. Russell Wilson. I can't help it. Pete Carroll has become a friend, and if they go to the Super Bowl, I get to go. So Russell Wilson.
Hey, Coach, what is the graduation rate at that high school now? Do you know what it evolved into? I know since you had...
What is the graduation rate?
Yeah.
Very, very high. Very, very high. No Child Left Behind ensured that all these kids graduate. The problem is they don't have the first clue in hell how to compete when they get to college. That's the problem, is they graduate. O.C. Brown got promoted to 7th grade because he was big. That's the world we live in, y'all. And when the valedictorian has an 18 on the ACT, it ought to describe to you the lack of education these kids in the inner city are getting, and that is the fact. So they graduate. And then they get Pell Grants and all the Hope Scholarship and everything that's available to them, and then they're home after a year because they cannot compete because they are ill prepared. Graduation is not the goal. Preparation is. We got it backwards. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Well, I mean, now let's be honest. I'm a volunteer guy who's there 4 hours a day coaching football, and so I walk the halls every day to check on my players. The way it helped is many times your more aggressive alpha male athletic guys are the ones that cause the most problems inside the school. And so as a result of a large proportion of those people being with me, I got some of that calmed down probably, and I think it did help. And all of a sudden the school went from the school that football was a joke. And listen, the first game I coached at Manasses, there were 4 people in our side of the stands. The bus driver, the athletic director, the principal, and Miss Guy, who has not missed a Manasses athletic event in 42 years. That's it. I'm not kidding you. Our last year, we played in front of 2,000 and 3,000 people. The entire community came out to support the kids. So, I mean, a feeling of, look, undefeated has nothing to do with wins and losses. It's about not being defeated by your circumstances. So if watching a group of kids who have never been successful at a particular thing all of a sudden become successful, it speaks in its action to everybody else in the student body that yes, you can accomplish stuff despite how crappy your circumstances are. So my hope is that others could gravitate toward what we were doing, and that maybe discipline was a little better. But I didn't run the school. I was a volunteer football coach. So there were lots of things that were disturbing that I couldn't do anything about.
Okay, we have time for one more.
You're the last one.
Oh, thanks.
Don't
I'm
screw
sorry,
it up.
I'm sorry to get personal, but you and I have some in common. And I'm totally deaf in my left ear. And
I'm so sorry.
I am totally deaf in my left ear. You're deaf in your right ear.
Yeah.
And I don't think people understand this, but when you're deaf in one ear, you cannot tell what direction. If somebody's hollering your name, you're like, okay, where are you coming from?
It's plus I'm kind of stupid.
Try playing Marco Polo in the pool with your kids. It's not good.
Yeah.
So my question is, how'd you lose your hearing? And you're an inspiration to me, by the way, just for
thank
just
you.
overcoming that and not letting that slow you down. Apparently,
You need to read more magazines and newspapers. Fat redheaded guys are not typically inspirational. There's other people out there.
Yeah.
How'd I lose my hearing?
Yeah.
Nerve damage. Nobody knows exactly how. Probably head slaps in 1985 in football or
Did the kids ever
guns, because I'm right-handed, and guns probably.
Did
maybe.
the kids ever tease you?
Guns. I never hunted, but I did shoot a lot of guns.
Right.
Just kidding. Just a joke. He's so uptight. I think that's it, guys. Thank you very much. Good luck.